The Mississippi Legislative Black Caucus is getting a jump start on next year's legislative session. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Quentin Smith. On the agenda today is better understanding of the current state of the Division of Medicaid. Courtney Ann Jackson has the latest from today's hearing.
The Legislative Black Caucus wants a better grasp on how the $6.1 billion are being spent at the Division of Medicaid. Around $1 billion of those are state dollars.
To see how that translates to services for our people around the state, that was very important to me.
Legislators took advantage of the chance to quiz the Division of Medicaid.
How many contracts that y'all have under Medicaid?
We're focused on providing, the best coverage we can for the population that we have and moving that needle, making people healthier.
One issue, lawmakers are being told Medicaid recipients are having trouble getting non-emergency transport to appointments.
They don't have the right to choose when people's appointments are. Their job is to provide a service.
The legislature voted to increase the available elderly and disabled waivers this year. Those allow low-income elderly or disabled individuals the ability to receive care outside of a nursing facility. But lawmakers say there's still a waiting list.
We feel like there are some additional services that could be in a waiver situation that would make it much better for people that are trying to remain out of assisted living.
Members know there will be new leadership next session, and some form of Medicaid expansion could be on the table after years of pushing for it.
We know from research the importance of it from a healthcare standpoint, from an economic standpoint. So I'm hoping and praying that this is a jump start for it.
We don't have an official agency position on that.
The information gathered will help shape the caucus agenda for next year's session. Courtney Ann Jackson, WCBI News.
A Winston County company receives a Navy contract worth up to $84 million to repair and maintain all-terrain cranes for the Marine Corps. Senator Cindy Hyde-Smith says Taylor Defense Products will get the contract as part of the Navy Service Life Extension Program. Now, the company will be given $9.7 million at first to begin repair and maintenance on about 145 cranes. The work will be completed in Louisville and is expected to be done by June 2029. Well, it is now time to turn our attention over to weather, and many parts of our viewing area got to enjoy a beautiful day, huh, Keith?
Quentin, it's been a great day, low humidity. Look at this great sunset we had this evening in Octok. You can see some of those wispy cirrus clouds overhead. And some of those clouds also gave rise to that little rainbow. That's a sundog we had spotted with some of those clouds this evening at sunset. But the clouds are streaming overhead, no rain, no storms, nothing like that. Very comfortable. We are in the low 60s already in Starkville at 63 and Winona. Upper 50s in many spots here tonight to around 60. So a few more degrees. Tomorrow back into the mid 80s, partly cloudy overall. Can't rule out a stray late day shower, but most spots stay dry. Full forecast is coming up.
Bond is set at $2 million for the accused gunman in a shooting at Starkville's McKee Park. Starkville police arrested two brothers, 19-year-old Cedric Rambo Splunge and 18-year-old Kentravius Splunge of Greenville this afternoon. The arrests come after a shooting Monday evening at the park that left one man injured. The victim was taken to the hospital and treated for a gunshot wound. Cedric Splunge was found staying at a relative's home in Starkville. He's being charged with aggravated assault, and his bond is set at $2 million. Kentravius Splunge is charged with accessory after the fact, and his bond is set at $1 million. Well, the incident has raised concerns about safety at the park. Some parents who were at the park with their children at the time of the shooting expressed shock and disbelief. However, Starkville mayor says the public should not be worried. She says, in addition to placing new surveillance cameras near the park, the city is also working on ways to increase security throughout its parks.
And then we're going to heighten our police presence. We're going to start treating these events, these sporting events that we have that are rec events, just like we treat any other event in the community, which is to have a dedicated police presence where you will see, officers in uniform and vehicles, and they'll be out and about with these events that are occurring in large concentrations of individuals.
The investigation into the shooting is still ongoing. An Amory police officer is injured after being dragged by a car this afternoon. And this man, Matthew Crump of Aberdeen, is now charged with aggravated assault on a police officer and felony fleeing. Amory Police Chief Ronnie Bowen says Officer Matthew Flippo responded to a call about a vehicle being parked on private property on Pope Street. Bowen says the officer was talking to Crump when the Aberdeen man sped away. Flippo was dragged a short distance. Other officers, along with Monroe County Sheriff's deputies, eventually caught up with Crump after a short pursuit.
We responded. The officers approached the individuals in the car. They had some discussion, no aggression on his part, but then the officer's trying to get the car cut off, and he takes and throws it in gear and takes off, and the officer was in the doorway with it open, and he went for approximately 100 yards. The officer had to make a decision at that point in time based on his statement to either get in the vehicle or exit, and he was afraid based on what was going on. So he just ducked and tucked and rolled.
Officer Flippo had minor injuries and has since been released from the hospital. This incident remains under investigation. Columbus police are looking for 3 suspects accused of stealing hundreds of dollars worth of items from a car in late May. Take a look at this video. Video shows 3 people breaking into an unlocked car near Baptist Memorial Hospital on May 23rd around 9 a.m. Columbus Police Chief Fred Shelton says the suspects broke into the car, left, and then returned again to steal more items out of the same car. If you have any information on this incident or know anything on these suspects, you're asked to contact Crime Stoppers. A Kilmichael man went straight from Justice Court to jail following a hearing this morning. Montgomery County Justice Court Judge Larry Bamberg ordered Robert Harrison to serve 60 days in jail for starving 4 dogs on his property. The animals were seized on May 29th after a complaint that the dogs were emaciated, chained up, and had no way to get clean water. Harrison was ordered to serve 180 days, but 120 of those days were suspended. He'll remain on probation for 2 years and will serve the 4 months if he violates his probation. The Columbus School District settles a lawsuit filed by a former principal. Former Fairview Elementary School principal Evan Kane says he was fired in August of 2017 because former Superintendent Philip Hickman preferred women as principals. Kane says he was replaced by a relative of an assistant superintendent. Terms of the settlement are confidential.
All right, we have some showers and storms up here across the high plains. There's a cold front out there. It's coming our way. We could squeeze out a stray shower tomorrow, but in general, things are looking great for the rest of the work week. Details on that are next.
WCBI First Alert AccuWeather Forecast with Chief Meteorologist Keith Gibson.
High clouds in the region today. Our cameras in Columbus and Tupelo, Louisville, Mississippi, and there over in Vernon, Alabama at Durham's Pharmacy. Some passing high cirrus. No rain, no nothing here in our area. And really no humidity either. That's what we'd love to see, right? Moisture not too far away. Atlanta, eastern Alabama, some of that's trying to move back to the west, but we just have the higher clouds right now and the dry air. And in general, that will be the rule of thumb going forward. So some wispy high cirrus clouds tomorrow morning. This is 7 o'clock when you wake up for the morning commute. It's going to be comfortable. Some clouds, maybe a pretty nice sunset, or sunrise rather, just before or around 6 o'clock in the morning. So the sun's setting or rising earlier and earlier, setting later and later. Now over to Alabama, there may be some showers and storms from 65 east, but for us we're dry. As we get into the afternoon and evening, notice that's that front kicking off. The storm is well toward northwest right now. That will come our way. Some clouds, maybe a shower or thunder shower, but in general not a lot of moisture with this system, and that will clear our area and give rise to a great day Thursday as another area of high pressure comes on in. It may be a bit gusty. Low humidity, comfortable temperatures, another Chamber of Commerce type day around here for this time of year. We're on the backside of high pressure starting Friday. That means more of a southerly flow. I think the humidity is okay. It's in check through Friday, and then the Gulf of Mexico is wide open starting Saturday, and that just means soupy air coming our way with some of those pop-up storms and showers around the region, especially as you get into Sunday and beyond. But between now and most of Saturday, high and dry. Overall, safe for maybe one of those stray showers tomorrow, but there's the soup coming back in. The dew points up as we get into the weekend, and that means more humidity, also more heat too. 91 Saturday, around 90 on Sunday. A chance for a few showers and storms More so Sunday versus Saturday. So Saturday could actually be a pretty good pool day. So let's just savor the comfortable air we have in place. And actually, we are advertising some mid to maybe low 50s. This is for June 14th, Friday morning, not tonight, but the old records there are actually down into the low 50s. So we're teasing the old records here with some of these numbers we have right now. But again, things are pretty nice. Low and mid 60s now. The wind has really relaxed in most spots. So things are shaping up to be a great night here for our Tuesday night. Upper 50s to around 60, just a few more degrees here. Some of you may get down into the mid 50s later on tonight. In the Columbus area, upper 50s to around 60, low to mid 80s tomorrow. No complaints here. Our city by city forecast shows widespread 80s, winds from the west and northwest at 5 to 15 miles per hour. So a pretty nice Wednesday for us. Here's your AccuWeather 70 forecast. 85 tomorrow, 80 Thursday, 85 Friday. Warm for the weekend, sticky starting Sunday into next week.
When we come back, we meet some women who are going the distance to help others this summer. Stay with us. Welcome back. Many area churches sponsor overseas mission trips around this time of year. It's a way to volunteer and provide essentials to people who are struggling to survive. Our Stephanie Poole speaks with two women who are logging some serious miles to help others.
Holly and Mia Bridges travel over 2,000 miles to Guatemala for a mission trip every year. They see communities in need of food, water, and medical supplies.
There are people in other places that aren't as fortunate as us, and we're called to share the things that we have.
To know that there's kids that I can help and it will impact their life forever.
The Bridges are a part of a volunteer group from North Wyona Baptist Church that serve 1 week out of the year. Holly Bridges says she received a calling for her family to participate on the mission trip in 2012.
After our first trip, we knew that was where the Lord wanted us to serve right now. Yes, we can serve here, we can serve anywhere around the world, but we just felt like the Lord had called our family to serve in Guatemala at this time.
Through the years of providing essential needs, Holly knew her family needed to do more. And in 2015, the Bridges joined Ahava Ministries, a weekly feeding group.
It takes place 3 days a week, and they feed approximately 100 to 140 kids and mothers a day. And during that time, they also present a Bible story, they present the gospel to them, and have some kind of craft activity.
I always try to play games with the kids and just have fun with them and just let them forget their street life and just come here and to the ministry and just play and just be a child for a little while.
At the end of each trip, the group provides a stove so families are able to cook. It is over 2,000 miles from Wyona to Guatemala, but distance is no match for this mother and daughter to serve.
It's exciting to go and see the friends that we've made over time, and even though there's a communication difficulty, love is a universal language.
That was our Stephanie Poole reporting there. Now the Bridges will be heading back to Guatemala on June 30th. The Diamond Dogs are headed back to Omaha for a second run at the College World Series. More on the Dogs coming up next in sports.
WCBI Sports with Courtney Robb.
Mississippi State is headed back to Omaha for the College World Series for its second consecutive year. The Bulldogs, the first time around with a tumultuous year dealing with coaching issues, of course ending in an undesirable way. But the Diamond Dogs, with a brand new leader, have managed to do it again. State has unfinished business to deal with upon its arrival in Omaha, amongst a whole slew of new challenges, no longer being at home, and almost brand new opponents to face. But regardless, the Bulldogs saying they are ready to take on the challenge ahead.
Obviously, we're going to win, and we wanted to win. We did really well, but it was definitely a different feeling because of the roller coaster we had. But this year is more like, hey, we're going to Omaha, but we're not just going to Omaha. Like, we're going to win. Like, we're going there. We got a job to do, a job to finish.
I think, we're focused, and we still realize we have work to do. I think getting there last year just allowed us to realize how badly we really want that national championship and how much more we need to do. We fell short last year, and so now I think it's more of a focus aspect of we know we have a lot more to do in order to win it.
I think the ballpark piece doesn't change too much. It's just the atmosphere. And it's not so, it may not even be the atmosphere on the field. It may be everything that you're asked to do out there and all your families there and the chaos of Omaha. But going to Omaha and playing for a while like they did last year will be a big benefit.
Well, the stage in Omaha for the College World Series has officially been set. The teams that will be in attendance, first and foremost, State, of course, Texas Tech, Michigan, Arkansas, Florida State, Auburn, Vanderbilt, and Louisville. Saturday featuring Texas Tech versus Michigan at 1, and then Arkansas versus Florida State at 6:30. Vanderbilt and Louisville set to face off 1 p.m. on Sunday, and Mississippi State gets the prime time slot Sunday, facing Auburn at 6:30 p.m. The game will be broadcasted on ESPN2, and of course we'll have updates for you on WCBI as well. In case you haven't noticed, 4 of the 8 teams headed to Omaha for the College World Series are members of the Southeastern Conference, 3 of those teams being SEC West teams. Ole Miss head coach Mike Bianco talked about the difficulties of these SEC teams after his team's super regional loss to Arkansas.
There's not a conference in the country that prepares you more for postseason than the SEC. It's just 10 weeks, 30 games. It weathers you. It thickens your skin. It humbles you. I don't think it's a surprise of anybody that there's at least 4 teams in there, and I guess 3 from the West. And so again, it's one of those things that for 10 straight weeks, it's just a war.
And that war certainly took its toll on the Rebels. Their season did not end on the note they would have liked it to, with the loss in Fayetteville 14-1 against Arkansas yesterday. And much like the Super Regional in Arkansas, Ole Miss experienced many ups and downs all season long. Ole Miss head coach Mike Bianco saying, although an unfortunate ending, this year's team will be remembered for its postseason turnaround.
Some weekends we were as good as any team in the country, and there were some weekends where we'd like to forget, and we just had a lot of that. And I don't, as a coach, I think you look back and you still scratch your head. Was it the pressure? Was it, the expectation, going into the season? But this team, I think will always be remembered for, being here. Unfortunately, it ended, 1 game short of Omaha, but a time where, and I've seen teams, not just Ole Miss, but others where, you don't play well at the end, and you just go, what happened to them? They were real good. That would have been a shame for these guys, because there's too many talented players on that field.
Even at the end, there is some good news for Ole Miss as their season comes to a close. Ole Miss junior Gray Kessinger earning the 2019 Brooks Wallace Award, which is given to the best collegiate shortstop in the country. Kessinger led the team with a .330 batting average, scoring 67 runs, and last week he was drafted in the 2nd round of the MLB draft to the Houston Astros. That's it for sports. The last look at your weather is coming up after the break. Stay with us.
All right, Quentin, great weather today. Same story for the next few days here. Low humidity, still warm during the day, but very comfortable during the evenings. Right now we're in the low 60s, so get out there. The humidity returns this weekend.
Today was a really good day, Keith. It wasn't too hot. It was just right. I felt a nice breeze.
I mentioned earlier on social media, I said it felt like a football Saturday. That breeze.
But unfortunately, we got some rain coming up in a few days.
A little bit of rain, perhaps by the weekend.
Have a good night, everyone.